Hello, my name is Susan Woodard. In this presentation, I will guide you through two server operating systems, Microsoft Windows Servers 2022 and Ubuntu Server 24, along with two firewalls. Windows Firewall with Advanced Security, often abbreviated as WFAS, and the Linux Firewall Utility IP tables. On the focus will be on their technical features and, more importantly, hardening recommendations. These are measures that go beyond default installations and help protect servers against real-world threats. By the end of the presentation, you should understand the strengths of each system, common weaknesses, and the concrete steps you can take to secure them. This presentation is structured into 5 major parts. First, Windows Servers 2022, covering both its features and hardening steps. Second, Ubuntu Server 24, again focusing on technical security controls and hardening. Third, we will shift into host firewalls, starting with the Windows Firewall with advanced security. Fourth, we'll look at Linux IP tables, which is a low-level tool used to define firewall rules on Ubuntu. Finally, I'll end the summary on key takeaways and a reference slide so you can review the sources. I encourage you to listen for parallels between Windows and Linux. Many of the same hardening principles apply to both, even though the differences in the tools. Windows Servers 2022 introduces several important security capabilities. Secure Core Server. This is a collection of protections that combine hardware and operating system security. It utilizes features such as visualization-based security, VBS, to isolate parts of memory, and hypervisor protected code integrity, HVCI, to prevent unsigned code from executing. Credential Guard is also part of this model, protecting NTLM and Kerberos secrets within a secure enclave. Networking enhancements. The Server Message Block Protocol, or SMB, now supports AES-256-GCM and AES-256-CCM encryption. This makes file sharing over the network resist to eavesdropping and tampering. Additionally, TLS 1.3 is now included in the Windows stack, which is faster and more secure compared to TLS 1.0 or 1.1. Security baselines. Microsoft releases security configuration baselines through the Security Compliance Toolkit. There are sets of group policy objects that define a minimum secure posture for Windows roles and services. Using these baselines helps standardize configurations across environments, reducing misconfigurations. Windows Server 2022 Hardening. Hardening steps for Windows Server 2022 build on these features. Apply Microsoft Security Baselines. Always start by importing the latest baseline from Microsoft Security Compliance Toolkit. This gives you secure defaults from password policies, audit settings, and Windows Defender configurations. Enable Credential Guard and LSA protection. Credential Guard isolates hashes so tools like Minicat can't dump them. LSA protection ensures the local security authority runs as a protected process, preventing injection attacks. Secure SMB. Disable SMB v1 completely as it is vulnerable to exploits like Eternal Blue. Require SMB signing and encryption so that file transfers cannot be modified in transit. Restrict TLS versions. Disable older SSL/TLS protocols in the registry or via group policy. Keep only TLS 1.2 and 1.3 enabled to prevent downgrade attacks. By taking these actions, you can reduce the server's exposure to credential theft, network exploration, and insecure communications. Ubuntu Server 24.04 is Conical's newest long-term support release, meaning it will receive updates for several years. Kernel and system, it runs the Linux kernel 6.8 with system version 255. This combination improves performance, scalability, and system management. Ubuntu uses AppArmor as its priority security framework. Each application can be confirmed with a profile that limits what files, processes, and network resources it can access. Automatic updates, unattended upgrades is enabled by default. This ensures security patches are automatically downloaded and applied. Canonical also offers Live Patch with Ubuntu Pro users, which allows critical kernel patches to be applied without rebooting. While NF tables is the kernel framework, IP tables remains available as the primary command line tool. This provides capability with scripts and guides that rely on IP tables commands. Hardening Ubuntu server involves several concrete actions. Lockdown SSH, edit, etc. SSH/SSHD configure to disable root login and password authentication. Require key-based authentication and optionally restrict which users or IP ranges can connect. Verify that unattended upgrades is configured to handle security patches. If available, enable Canonical Live Patch for kernel updates without downtime. Ensure files are loaded and set to enforce mode. Do not disable AppArmor when troubleshooting, as it is a key security control. Uninstall unnecessary packages like FTP or Telnet services if not required. Also stop or disable services that are not in use, which reduces possible entry points for attackers. Together, these measures make Ubuntu resilient against common attacks such as brute force, SSH attempts, privilege escalation, and service exploration. Windows Firewall Advanced Security is more than a simple packet filter. Stateful Firewall WFAS tracks the state of connections, meaning return traffic from established connections is automatically allowed. It supports 3 profiles: domain, private, and public. Each can have a distinct rule set, so a laptop behaves differently when at work versus on a public Wi-Fi network. WFAS is built on WFP, which allows deep filtering. Rules can apply to specific user services or even applications, not just ports. Administrators can enable logging for both allowed and blocked traffic and integrate the IPsec to secure communications with cryptographic authentication. This makes WFAS flexible for both enterprise users and lab environments. To harden WFAS, default policies set inbound connections to block and outbound to allow. This ensures only defined services are reachable from outside. Create allow rules for only the services you require and tie them to specific profiles or IP addresses when possible. Enable logging for both allowed and blocked traffic. Increase the maximum log size and send logs to the SIM or log management system. Use group policies to allow firewall rules across multiple servers consistently. Review firewall rules for overly broad entries, such as any. Remove or tighten these rules to reduce risk. On Linux, iptables configures the kernel's netfilter framework. The 3 main chains are input, forward, and output. Input controls traffic destined for the server, forward is for the routing traffic through it, and output is for the traffic generated by the server. With the contract module, iptables can track established connections. This runs for return traffic without opening ports to the entire world. On Ubuntu 24, iptables is implemented through nftables. While the syntax is the same, rules are actually applied through nftables, ensuring modern capability. By installing the iptables persistent package, Rules can be saved and reloaded automatically when the server reboots. Hardening IP tables generally follows a default deny strategy. Set input and forward to drop, while output is usually accept. This blocks unsolicited inbound traffic. Add a rule to allow established and related connections so that legitimate return traffic works. Secure SSH. Create the rule that allows SSH only from trusted management, IPs, or subnets. This prevents brute force attempts from the open internet. Install and configure IP tables persist so that rules survive a reboot. Organize rules into chains like management or web for easier reading and auditing. This is not just cosmetic, it reduces mistakes and makes firewall reviews more efficient. In summary, both Windows Server 2022 and Ubuntu Server 24 provide strong security features out of the box, but neither is fully hardened by default. On Windows, start with Microsoft Security Baseline, enable Credential Guard, disable SMBV1, and lock down TLS. On Ubuntu Server, secure SSH, enforce automatic updates, use App Arbor, and minimize unnecessary services. For firewalls, both WFAS and IP tables should follow the principle of least privilege, deny inbound traffic by default, allow only what is required, log activity, and review configurations regularly. Security is never a one-time task. It is about building secure defaults, monitoring continuously, and applying consistent hardening steps across your servers. Thank you for watching and listening to my presentation. I hope you found the information helpful and can use it in the future.